Gene Key 64, the Aurora. Welcome, my name is Jose, and I welcome you into this space of embodied listening around Gene Key 64. Make yourself comfortable, sit or lie down. Let your body choose softness. You can close your eyes or let your gaze rest gently and watch the slides go by. Bring your attention to your breath. You don't have to change anything. And slowly deepen the inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And again, inhale. Exhale and let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your forehead smooth out. Feel your body. Feel that you're here. This is not a space to understand. This is a space to feel. Gene Key 64 lives high in the field of the mind, in the head center, where pressure arises, where questions arise, where images flicker. And it carries the energy of almost complete, as if a cycle is about to turn, but the new is not yet visible. And that is why it can feel like mist. Imagine a sky just before sunrise, the darkest phase, and yet, very subtly, the first glow. And that is this field, the Aurora. Not full daylight, but the first sign that light is already on its way. On the shadow level, this appears as confusion, as mental pressure, fragments, impressions, thoughts that don't land, images that overlap, a feeling of, I need to understand this now. And that needing to understand now makes it worse, because confusion is often not a problem to be solved, but a phase to be lived through. So feel in your body, how does confusion show up for you? Is it pressure behind your eyes, tension in your temples, restlessness in your chest, a kind of urgency in your belly? Breathe into that area and stay with it. You don't have to get rid of it. Gene Key 64 carries a victim pattern, being a victim of confusion. It's the inner story that says, It's too complex. I'll never understand. I don't know, so I can't do anything. Without certainty, I'm lost. And then something subtle happens. You lose your creative agency. You either freeze or run, which brings us to the two shadow expressions. The repressive side tries to avoid the mist by clinging to what's familiar, by imitating. Tell me what to do. Tell me what's true. Give me the steps. If I do it right, I'll be safe. From the outside, it can look calm, but inside, there's stagnation. Originality is swallowed. The inner voice is dimmed. Feel into yourself. Where do you sometimes copy an answer so you don't have to feel that you don't know? And the reactive side goes the other way. The mist gets projected outward. Restlessness, criticism, anger, resistance. A need to have a story, any story, as long as it creates certainty. And this can become drama, or accusation, or the system is broken. It is not because you are wrong, but because not knowing feels unbearable. So feel into yourself. Where do you go into agitation when something isn't clear? Breathe without judgment. Gene Key 64 does not ask for control, it asks for trust in timing. It's the art of staying in the mist without losing yourself. Because inside that mist, something is brewing. Deep beneath the surface, life is organizing itself in your unconscious, in your nervous system, in your soul. You don't have to force it and you don't have to fix it. You only have to stop running. And when the frequency rises, confusion becomes imagination, a profound shift. And then mist becomes fertile. And then chaos becomes creative. Imagination says, I don't have to know right away. I'm allowed to play. I'm allowed to let images come. I'm allowed to let it simmer. Imagine that confusion is a studio. It's not an enemy. But it's a studio And you are the artist. Let your mind hold loose puzzle pieces. Let images float freely. And let ideas be illogical. And ask one gentle question. What wants to emerge if I stop forcing it? And Gene Key 64 has a beautiful opposite energy, the energy of questions, inquiry, doubt that wants to understand. And sometimes it feels as if your mind is a detective, needing to verify, needing certainty. And that's not wrong. It becomes toxic when it turns cynical, endless, and pulls you out of your body. The gold is in collaboration. The questions are welcome, but the answers don't need to be forced. You can investigate without torturing yourself, and you can ask without drowning. And there's a natural mental alchemy here. First come the fragments, the impressions, the loose ends, and later it suddenly clicks, like an insight in the shower, like clarity on a walk, like a sentence that finally lands. And Gene Key 64 reminds you, your insight is not linear. It is cyclical. It moves in waves. It comes in leaps. So you don't need to think harder. You need to become wider. And Gene Key 64 belongs to a field you can feel as transmutation. Lead becomes gold. And this is through presence in the raw stage. Confusion is a black face. And then you see color, image, imagination, and finally white light, simplicity, clarity. And what once was chaos becomes a key. What once felt like too much becomes meaning. At the highest level, this key opens as illumination. And it's not, I figured it out, but I became still enough to see. And here the fragments dissolve, and here the inner fight ends. Illumination is a state of being, not a mental achievement. It's a state of being in which thinking loosens its grip and knowing arises on its own. Sometimes as poetry, sometimes as presence, sometimes as one simple truth that changes everything. So rest here and feel your breath and feel the silence beneath your thoughts. Gene Key 64 does not ask you to see the whole path, only to take the next step. Imagine you are walking a mountain trail in fog. You cannot see the summit, and still you can take one step. And ask yourself, what is my one step? It doesn't have to be perfect or big, it's just one step. And then ask yourself, can I respect the mist as part of my process? Bring your attention back to your body and move your fingers and your toes. Breathe more deeply in and slowly out. And when you're ready, open your eyes and take this with you. You do not have to solve confusion. You are allowed to inhabit it, because the aurora appears right there. The mist is not a mistake. It is the threshold where the first light appears. Sending love.